Hey, what's up guys? Daniyal here with Electrohouse. It's been a while since...
Cut. Daniyal, I think our majority of the audience is from India, so please go with the Indian accent. No need to show off your American accent.
Welcome to Electrohouse YouTube channel. I am Daniyal Qureshi. And today...
Daniyal, as majority of our audience is from India, so please go with Hindi.
Okay. वेलकम फ्रेंड्स, आप सभी का स्वागत है इलेक्ट्रॉस चैनल पे। मैं हूँ दानियल कुरैशी और आज हम लोग बात करने वाले हैं
Daniyal, cause you're from Maharashtra, so please go with Marathi.
ओके. नमस्कार, तुम्ही सगळ्याच्या मनापूर्वी स्वागत आहे इलेक्ट्रोहाउस चॅनलमध्ये. आज आपण गोष्ट करणार आहोत हाँ तो अभी इंडोनेशियन में भी बात करवा लो. बरोबर, आपल्या इतर देशाच्या दर्शकांना समजलं पाहिजे तर मी इंग्लिशमध्ये स्विच करतो. जायच्या आधी जय महाराष्ट्र आणि मला द्या विशेष अनुमती. चूतिया क्या कर रहा है अभी इधर उधर से. Okay. So today we have completed 5 years on YouTube, and guess how many videos have I posted in the last year? 0, exactly. Sorry for that, but it takes time for you to be comfortable in a foreign country and figure things out. And especially if you're new to the system, if you're new to the academics system here, the education system. So, और ये हाँ, यहाँ पे पंछी जो मेरी बातें सुन रहा है. Okay. Yeah. I have already completed 2 semesters, that's 1 year at the University of Ottawa, and currently this is summer time, so I am doing my internship and I'll continue this internship for the next term as well. That's the fall term, and I'll just have one more term to go, that's the winter term. After that I'll be done with my master's program. So hopefully now in the co-op terms or the internship terms where we don't have academics, we just have the internship. So hopefully I'll get some time, some spare time in order to make or continue our Electrohouse classroom series as well as other documentaries that I'm planning. So let's see. Okay. थोड़ी धूप और गिरे, थोड़ा तापमान बढ़े. यार तापमान कम क्यों है? कोई मुझे पता है वाई. 3-4 पंछी इधर देखा जाए तो. ओके, 3-4 भी नहीं, 5-6 पंछी वैसे. ओह माय गॉड. ओके, so let's start. Okay, yeah, anyways. Okay. So I came here. अरे बाप रे, हवा आ रही है. So So this is going to be an update video and I'll try my best to keep it as short as possible. I left India on 22nd August and I landed on the same day here in Canada because due to the time difference and the flight duration, so they match perfectly. And I think Canada actually lags like 12 hours behind India's time. So that's the reason that I landed on the same day. Kudos to Shubham who acquainted me with Vedant, who is my good friend now. We both came in the same flight from Nagpur to Montreal via Doha. And it's always nice and comfortable to have someone that's also from the same place accompanying you in the long travel. The immigration process was so smooth that I asked myself that am I finally here? Am I free to roam? The first impression was a really green and beautiful landscape with lots of trees and grass everywhere. Even in the urban areas, people care about this and they look for their gardens, either the front yard or the backyard. As I was coming from Montreal to Ottawa, everywhere I looked was massive grasslands and farms. This country is really blessed with natural resources that are mostly clean. I lived in the Gatineau area that's closer to downtown Ottawa for the first week, and the first hustle was to find a permanent place to live. That was fortunately done just 2 days before we moved in. It looks impossible. The second was seeing expensive prices for the stuff because we were comparing it with the prices in India. Just to give you an idea, if you want to have a meal, not a full course meal, so you'll need at least like $5 to $7. That's around like 300 to 500 rupees. And if you want to have a full course meal, that's around like $10 to $15. So that's pretty expensive. So that's the reason that we started cooking, and that was quite affordable for us. But the thing about which we were really delighted was the Canadian hospitality. And oh my God, I have never seen such warm, welcoming people, really open-minded, ready to help the needy. Just in the few days of our arrival, we experienced this multiple times and it was hard to believe. Even while walking on the streets, you can see people smiling, nodding, or even greeting you. Now imagine this in India, and that too with a complete stranger. I was shocked to see that majority of master students with me were not the locals, but were from India, China and other Asian countries. This is not true for the undergrad though. And because you have so many Indians around you, it almost feels like you are in India. So you hardly miss your country, and Canada to me seems like the second home. They even celebrate tons of different Indian festivals like Diwali, Holi, in which Canadians also like to join. I once went to a Rath Yatra, sorry, yeah. Once I saw Rath Yatra and it was huge. The university also organized fun events for us in the beginning, like a trip to the Gatineau Park, where I made a lot of friends. That was a really memorable trip.
अच्छा मेरे यहाँ फ़ोन से फोटो खींच
नहीं बे, अबे फ़ोन भी है, फ़ोन अलग से लेंगे ना।
यू आर अ ब्लॉगर और समथिंग
नहीं नहीं ब्लॉगर नहीं हूँ मैं, ऐसे ही जस्ट। तो मुझे लग रही है ठंडी क्योंकि हवा भी काफ़ी चल रही है। हालांकि समर है बट स्टिल मुझे जाना पड़ेगा धूप में। वाओ, आई एम डेफिनेटली फीलिंग मच बेटर इन द सन. Unlike the popular belief that Punjabis dominate everywhere in Canada, I think majority of the Indian population that we have in Ottawa is Gujaratis. And I think it's like 70 to 80%. There's a chance that if you see someone, will be a good Jew. In fact, even in the classrooms, you can hear conversations going on in Gujarati. The next, I think, are South Indians. We have lots of Kannadigas, Tamils, and Telugu people here. After that, we have Maharashtrians, and actually, a lot of them are from Mumbai and Pune. And interestingly, like I know at least 7 to 8 people that are from Nagpur. Apart from that, I also know people that are from different parts of Maharashtra, like Nashik, अकोला and अमरावती. कॅनडामध्ये 8,600 लोक होते मराठी बोलणेवाले नाही बोलणारे. कॅनडामध्ये 8,600 लोक मराठी बोलणारे होते 2016च्या सेन्ससप्रमाणे, ज्यांची मातृभाषा मराठी आहे. तर मग आजच्या हिशोबाने हा आकडा 10,000पेक्षा जास्त असू शकतो. All in all, we have enough Maharashtrians here that I occasionally hear people speaking in Marathi. Indian food is the biggest aspect for which I really miss India a lot. You only realize the value of your stuff when you go outside. I really miss तिखट वांग्याची भाजी आणि कढी जे भंडारेत किंवा लग्न समारंभात असतेच. The good part is we can have quite authentic Indian food in restaurants, but it can never be the same, and it is also expensive. Forget about all the rare indigenous items. This is not to say that Canadian food is not good in any way, it's just my Indian taste buds. However, there are few Canadian foods that I really like. For example, I liked pizza and falafels, and the thing that they make salads. Yeah, salads. And they are really good in making salads, and like falafels actually taste more like some kind of pakoda, or you can say like spicy vadi. It's made from like chickpea, I think like granulated chickpeas or like cooked chickpeas, and it contains some spices and some herbs, so it really suits well to an Indian taste. Contrary to the belief that Canadians eat junk food, they also eat a lot of raw green items, many of which I don't even know. One thing I want to tell you is that masters here is way different than what we have in India. Here, it's not like 10:30 to 5 p.m. And it is definitely lighter in terms of the number of lectures in a day. That is like 1 to 3 at most. But the background research or the work required is significant. Still, this gives enough time for master students to do part-time jobs along with academics comfortably. Now, God has blessed my family with all the means so that I don't need to work while I study. But still, I decided to work for the following reasons. The first reason is to induce work discipline and experience the Canadian environment. Anyways, people of my age are working in some or the other form, so I should also work according to my capacity. Second is, who doesn't want some extra cash, some of which can be used to pay the tuition fees. I applied to a bunch of part-time jobs but got no response till the mid-September. Finally, I got offer from the on-campus Starbucks for the position of barista. As a barista, I made drinks, I did pantry. So fortunately for us, we didn't have to make everything from scratch, like the sandwiches from scratch. They are like pre-made, and we just have to like reheat them. And I also did the orders on the cash, and that was all in a cyclic manner. Luckily, just in September last week, I got an offer for teaching assistantship for the course Advanced Programming Concepts in C++. That was for undergrad and for the term of fall 2022. And I cracked it. I have to say that the pay was really lucrative, but there was always a ton of work to do, like conduct labs, check assignments and lab submissions, solve queries, and there was a lot to do. I still didn't leave Starbucks, rather I decreased the number of working hours. I don't know how I managed both the jobs at the same time. I left Starbucks in this March after working there for 6 months. The good thing that I learned from Starbucks is how to effectively communicate with people. Just a small smile on your face is enough to start a friendly conversation. Then I applied for the upcoming co-op terms for a lot of companies, but didn't receive any offer, any interview call for the first round. There was a period of silence for me and my friends where we didn't hear any recruitment. The reason may be an economic slowdown, post-lockdowns, and a very competitive market, where freshers like us hardly get a chance over the already experienced. Another reason could be because I was really selective in applying for the jobs that are mainly related to the electrical domain, the core technical domain, which are much limited as compared to the IT jobs. I was about to give hope that I received an interview call from Lumentum. I was really happy to have gotten the offer. The real challenge was to get through it. I knew that this was my only shot before the internship recruitment session ends. Hit it with as much accuracy as I could, or miss the only opportunity that is knocking at my door. On top of this was the first interview of my life for an internship. Earlier, I was just referred by my professors. I made a small project presentation on the recent project that I was most confident about. Solar-powered automatic parking light system that I installed at my home in Wardha. I gave the interview with all the energy that I could gather and being as calm as possible. The interview started directly with my presentation, and to my surprise, the interviewers were listening carefully without asking any questions. I even paused at some points, expecting some questions from them, but they just told me to continue. I don't know from where I got the energy to keep talking without any breaks. Maybe because this was the project I was so passionate about. The presentation lasted for about 20 minutes without any interruptions. This either meant that they really liked it or they just wanted to finish. After the presentation, they were looking quite impressed, and they praised me as well. After that, they asked me a couple of questions like, how do I know all this? At that point, I knew that I had a pretty high chance of selection, but still was skeptical. 2 weeks later came the good news of my selection, and that too for 2 consecutive terms. That is 8 months, which is the maximum allowed for my program. Since the start of this month, I'm working as a process intern at Lumentum on green energy and robotics automation. I really like the people in the company, including my manager, who allowed me to select any projects from the list of active running projects. By the way, it's not just limited to the list of current projects. I also have freedom to start any new project if it makes sense. Honestly, this is what I wanted my internship to be, to work in a core technical company. Lumentum is the leading innovative company in the optical domain, headquartered in San Jose, California. They make a variety of different optical devices, but the main device is WSS. That's wavelength selectable switch or wavelength selective switch. They have a huge chunk of more than 60% in this market, basically the leader, having factories all over the globe, including UK, Thailand and US. And before we end, I would also like to mention my courses that I took in the previous semesters. So here I'll just mention technical courses and not the non-technical ones, because technical courses are the ones that matters most to me. So the first one in the fall of 2022, I took mobile robotics, and it was fun, but there was a lot of work to do because there was Linux, there was Python, there was ROS, and I had very little experience with Python and absolutely no experience in Linux. So I had a very hard time figuring things out, how to maneuver the robot and all. So all in all, we worked on the robot operating system, and we simulated a lot of different robots like Husky, like Turtlebot and many more. So that was fun. And another course in the same semester was electrical distribution systems, and that was a really good course, and I really appreciate the effort of Professor Shichao Liu from that course. So this professor was really passionate about the subject, and he taught it really well. The most interesting thing about that subject was me getting to know a new topic, that was PLC, that's the power line communications, and that's really interesting because I didn't know that something like this exists. And then in the winter term, I took a subject that's named as ubiquitous sensing and smart cities. So that was also a good course, but I don't know, for some reason the professor was not that much connected to the students, and he never made proper eye contact with students, and like basic things like asking questions and taking proper feedback from students. But the thing is that at least I learned some good networking concepts, like the ones that are required to build smart cities. So yeah, all in all, that was, so the course had content and the professor was also knowledgeable. But the thing is that if you are a professor, you should know how to connect with students. That is very important because that is required for you to transfer knowledge, right? And another technical course in the same term was RFIC, that was radio frequency integrated circuits. I was not planning to take this. Actually, the original course was low power and high speed circuits, integrated circuits, something like this. But I believe that the course was full, so I had to take this course as an alternative. But man, it was actually quite hard. The amount of work that was required was too much. But the thing is that the course was actually interesting. In the first few days, everything was going good, but after just a week, we got to see the real thing, like, the real complexity of the topic. And on top of that, like, I was completely new to the integrated circuits and also, the radio frequency, because I know, like, I have basic knowledge about low frequency, electronics, but not, high frequency stuff. So that was really hard because at high frequencies you have to account for like parasitic effects and things like this. But at least the professor was really good. He explained everything in a very simple manner, as simple as possible, and even to those without any significant background in that topic. And the great thing was that we got to work on Cadence, that is the industry standard software. And we worked on TSMC 65 nanometer node technology. That is, not the recent, not the latest, but still that is good enough for us to get an idea of how to design integrated circuits on semiconductors. So these were all the technical courses that I took in my previous semester. I just have to take one more course, and I'm thinking to take probably the wireless energy transfer or the wireless power transfer course offered by Professor Ronia Maya. He's the same professor who taught me RFIC, and I really liked his course and him as a person and as a professor. So probably I'll take that course and let's see how it goes. And that's it for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed the lecture. Sorry, not lecture. Kya kare, aadat se majboor. But I'm working on the topics for the next lectures of the Electrohouse Classroom series. So please stay tuned. And before I go, here are some beautiful clips from the downtown Ottawa. All right, see you then. Bye-bye.